Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Anything I say is alleged in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some housekeeping items, some meat and potato items. It is free. Free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram, on the Instagrammies at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to hit the like button so it gets out into the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes. And do not forget, whether you are coming or going, to hit the like button. So today we're talking the Real Housewives of Atlanta ratings. The ratings are in. Sorry, I'm a little behind on some content, y'all. But I wanted to just kind of give my thoughts on the ratings. They're down 24,000 views, you guys. And it was previously 549,000, and I believe it is down to 525,000. It was 0.16 in the demo. It ties the series low again of 0.12 in the demo. And I'm just going to say this, y'all. I'm just going to say this. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. I just think Real Housewives of Atlanta needs to find a new way to reinvent itself. And it didn't need to be this revamp per se. I feel like they could have, they really just need to bring back Mimi. Team Twirl, I know y'all going to be mad, but Kenya not being on the show is not the reason why the ratings are low. Because the ratings were low when Kenya was on the show. And the ratings were low as well the past few seasons when Kenya was there and Candy was there. So you cannot blame this season on Kenya. I think the problem is, and I will say it again until I'm blue in the face, the fans, social media has caught up to these reality shows. Unless it's a competition show like a Survivor or like a Big Brother, where there's still a little bit of unpredictability there. Unless you are talking about, I think the shows that work for Bravo, like a Below Deck, like a Summer House, like it's a formula, right? I think the thing with Housewives is the Housewives have gotten too comfortable. They've gotten into too many alliances where they want to pick and choose what they want to share. They want to haze all the new girls and make all the new girls work when they're not even making even half the salary that the vets are making. So it cheapens the brand. It cheapens the brand, and people are interested. Now, I don't know what the viewership is for the people who are watching on Peacock. I will keep that a buck. I don't know if, the streaming people, if it's that significant. However, I have not heard the streaming numbers since 3 weeks after the season premiere, where they promoted that allegedly 2.5 million people had tuned into the premiere episode and all of this and all of that. I have not heard what the figures are since then. So I don't know if it's performing well on streaming or not. I know that, some people are really fighting for this to stay around and to stay tuned. I think the show needs a pause, to be honest with you. But I also felt Married to Medicine needed a pause, and they're moving full steam ahead with the same old shenanigans. But, I mean, I feel like 9 times out of 10, I'll just run down what is everyone's storyline. Let's just keep it a buck. Shamia came in hot, presenting the opulence, presenting what it means to be a Real Housewife, what it means to have money, to have paper, and all of this and all of that. Everybody was feeling it. Everybody was featuring it. And we thought we were going to get more scenes of Shamia with her husband to see their dynamic as a couple, as husband and wife. And it was, you blink and you missed it. He was there for the first episode. He didn't even interact with the other husbands the first episode. He was in the cut. You had to do a Where's Waldo on Shamia's husband. And the Where's Waldo is getting more and more difficult as the episodes go on, because he's appeared, I think, a few times in FaceTime But outside of that, he is nowhere to be found. And I thought Shamia said the reason why she has not had a peach all these years was because her husband wasn't letting her film and doing all of this and doing all of that. So it's just interesting that, everything you said, the reason she's not on the show, well, she's not on the show, and she's on the show now, and the same thing's happening. And next we have Portia. Portia, like I said, she really did a disservice not just sticking this out, at least for this season with Simon. This is supposed to be your big comeback. You allegedly sign a production deal to do other TV shows and programming with Peacock and everything else. You have this big old deal. You're supposed to be presenting a lifestyle of glam. You're supposed to be presenting this nice house, this $7.5–8 million or whatever, and you're supposed to be showing us the good life that you are living with Simon and how you co-parent with your ex Dennis and all of this and all of that, going on, expensive shopping sprees and vacations and all of this and all of that. And here's the thing. Portia got scared when all that stuff came out once again about Simon's alleged issues with his citizenship and all this other stuff. But my thing is, that allegedly was out there before you got married to him. And you chose to turn a blind eye to it when you saw an opportunity. So why is it an issue now in, 2024 when it wasn't an issue a few years ago? So much so, you went ahead and married the guy and got a spinoff show out of it. So I feel she made a mistake. I think Portia should have wrote this out because the duration of the filming would have been before Trump was in office. So none of the less, Trump was not enforcing stuff as far as ICE and everything else. You wouldn't have known any of that until Trump got elected. And the things would have started to be implemented in 2025. You should have wrote this out, and you could have found out about the deportation and all this other stuff and all this other foolishness now, and then you could have presented at the reunion. You know what? I think I'm going to be filing for divorce. My husband's not who he says he is. I can't believe who I fell in love with. You could have had a whole thing set up going into season 17. But instead, you don't want to talk about Simon at all because he is dragging you all over the internet at the time of this filming. He is just going in and just dragging you up and down, threatening to expose your mom, Mama Diane, and all of this and all of that, and you couldn't handle it. You could not take it. So in exchange, you're afraid to even talk about him on the show because he's going to respond. He's going to retaliate. So therefore, you decided, let me just not say anything at all. And, let me dive into this Drew Sidora and Dennis stuff. Let me dive into now this friendship breakdown between me and Shamia. And I think Shamia's in on it too. I can't decide, but I feel like some people are starting to point out some things that this friendship fallout or whatever might be a beneficial storyline for both parties in that Portia doesn't have to talk about her divorce and Shamia doesn't have to talk about the fact as to why her husband is not on camera, even though the whole purpose of her allegedly not being on the show for so many seasons was because her husband didn't want to be on camera. Make it make sense. And I feel like the new girls are giving us something, but really, what is Britt's storyline after what took place with Kenya? Like what is her storyline? So she's coming out with some type of bare naked something, but outside of that, like what is her storyline? What is she doing? What is she contributing? And then Kelly, she's giving a little bit in terms of like the fallout of her divorce and a little bit here and there about Nana's waffles and opening up a second location. But I feel like the more of Kelly that we're getting, it's giving a flip-flop type of situation. And I'm not here for the flippity-flop situation. Like either you like somebody or you don't. Either you get along with somebody or you don't. But don't just say whatever the person in front of you wants to hear. And then take a side, when you're called to the carpet, but then you're still doing some flip-flopping and backtracking. I'm just confused. Then we have Angela. Angela, I actually feel, out of the new girls in totality, I feel Angela has given us the most of what you expect out of a housewife. You give us I feel like we've seen the most of Charles Oakley. I feel like we see a little bit of their dynamic, and you can argue whether or not they're playing this up for the cameras, of him acting disinterested, or him being asked to kiss her on cue, or her to ask to kiss him on cue with the cameras rolling, or producers to ask him, does he love Angela Oakley? I think the producer should have asked, what do you love about Angela Oakley? Because if you ask a yes/no question, it gives Charles the opportunity to gaslight you. But if you ask open-ended questions, Charles has to say something. So nonetheless, that's that. And then I feel, Angela, she has her own thing she's doing on the side with her real estate and everything else. And she has a lot of family drama going on as far as her daughter, as far as what is going on with her mom and her sister and everything else, and her daughter's sexuality and all of these things, contributing to various family dynamic issues, and the fact that the family no longer sees it for Charles Oakley, and the question is why, and trying to get to the bottom of the alleged side baby rumors, right? So I feel like there's a lot of meat there, and what Angela did once she saw these people were being fake to her and talking about her behind her back, she did the reverse Uno and pretended like she was still cool with him, but basically blew up Portia and Shamia's friendship like right before their eyes. And they easily fell for the trap. They took it hook, line, and sinker, and so on and so forth. So nonetheless, I feel like if we're going to give an honest assessment, Angela's really the only person right now who's bringing it. And then we have Phaedra, who is going to be making her debut this Sunday. So maybe the ratings will tick up at the appearance of Phaedra and at the appearance of Frickin' Frack. And, maybe that'll garner some interest from the fans on, seeing what Phaedra is up to. But outside of that, I just don't know, other than bringing back Nene, what else you could do. And if the rumors are true, Nene is supposed to be on The Traitors. She's supposed to be on the next season of The Traitors, allegedly, I believe, with Eva Marcel and some other housewives. So maybe they're doing that type of a rollout where, and it's kind of the same rollout that Phaedra had, is we're going to have you, be on another Bravo show first, or another NBC Universal show first. So they had her on Married to Medicine. That worked out. She did 2 seasons of that. They had her on The Traitors. That worked out really well. Phaedra won an Emmy. She was also on Dancing with the Stars and everything else. She also was on Real Housewives of Dubai and everything else. Nene is back in good after the lawsuit with Bravo. She's hosting red carpets for NBC Universal or Peacock or whoever. Was doing stuff with the Oscars, was doing stuff award season. So she has a good relationship with the network. The network before used to go from not mentioning Nene Leakes at all, cutting out her scenes, pretending she wasn't a part of the scene, to now her name is allowed to be said, to now her scenes are allowed to be said. Now the key is going to have to be whether or not Andy Cohen is going to just, understand what it is and see if this brings new light, new energy. But the one thing I want Nene to do when she comes back is not do what Portia currently is doing, is if you do not want to talk about a storyline, if you don't want to talk about something that's going on, you just shut down, or you just disappear, or you just run to the bathroom, or whatever else. Like we need to get some resolve. We need to get some resolve on these storylines, and y'all just be having these conversations that just end abruptly where there's no resolve. And y'all expect us to see this drag out for, several more episodes, and the fans have short attention spans. It's not going to work anymore in 2025. We need to move these stories along. That's why Angela is needed, and that is why Cynthia Bailey is needed. She understands, hey, let's revisit the storyline. Let's get this moving. We got to move on to the next topic. We got to move on to the next scene and go from there, you guys. But nonetheless, that is it. That is all that I have on the ratings. The ratings are, in the toilet. They're Married to Medicine type of numbers. And that's not good for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, will they do anything about it? I don't know. Because I feel like they're going to go another season with this cast and try to see if they can figure it out. And maybe, and of course Phaedra will be back. And they'll probably give Britt another chance and, bring Sheree in for the Angela Oakley and Charles Oakley component. But and then maybe the season after that they'll pull in Nene. But it would be great if they pulled in Nene now. But the thing too that's going to be a factor is money, is dinero, because that's the thing too. Streaming can be up all they want to, but the key is going to be the advertisers on Sunday nights. And people still are watching TV. 90 Day Fiancé is still getting 2-3 million views, an episode. So it's not that people are not watching TV. It's just that people are being strategic on what type of TV they want to watch. And if they're not interested in Housewives, they're not going to watch Housewives. And so therefore, if you are counting on those ratings to be extremely high to negotiate high salaries and high paychecks for these housewives, where is that going to leave Nene Leakes, who at the time when she was being phased out of the show was one of the highest paid on the show? How are you going to make that work? So there is that. That is it, and that is all that I got to give for this video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.